gonna go over the push kick or the teep. Bring my left knee to my chest. So, slow motion, I'm here. Now, obviously momentum is gonna play a factor in forward motion. We'll get to that later. But as far as basic mechanics go, first thing I do, knee to the chest, toes are pulled back. If you have good dexterity and start to add a little bit of momentum to bringing your knee to your chest, you may end up crashing into your own elbow. So if you need to, turn that elbow out. Now the reason we pull the toes back is if I just left them out there, I left them straight, and I crashed in, I'm probably gonna break my toes. Not to say that you can't kick with the toes, but I'd rather keep them safe if I can. My goal is to hit with the ball of my foot. Later, if your dexterity is good and your hamstring flexibility is good, hit with the heel. It's gonna be more damaging, yes. I'm turtling my back, my hands in front of my face, I'm rounding my shoulders, a slight bend in my rear leg, and I'm on my toes if I can. That's gonna help me get a little bit more extension and keep my balance. What I don't want is for me to be on my heels, and right now I'm stationary, but if you decided to push me or stop me in my tracks, I'm for sure going backwards. I wanna lean forward, so a quick drill we have for this is I get to my position, hard and fast, but I'm leaning forward. I'm coming off my heel. I'm here, fall forward, take a step, reset. Here, fall forward, take a step, reset. Shuffle back into stance, restart the whole drill. So next part is gonna be extending my actual weapon. I'm gonna extend. Now right now I'm extended as far as I can, as far as my hamstring will allow me to, right? Now I'm still protected up here, but this is the extent of my hamstring flexibility. So when you add momentum, you add speed, you add forward motion, your kicks will get better. They'll be more efficient. Doing this slow motion is a great way to gain balance and control. This is as much extension as I have while trying to maintain decent form and protection. I add my speed, momentum, forward motion, I'm here. Here, still not getting full extension because I don't have the flexibility, but I'm getting a little bit more power. So the other reason I want a good bend in my knee and to be off my heel on my base leg is so that I can push and extend my hips forward. And I extend, but I don't do anything with this leg, I'm pretty much stuck. Okay, even if I use momentum and speed to send my weapon out, I want to be able to drive my hips forward if I can. There's no way that's gonna happen unless I have a bend in this knee and I'm off this heel. Straight leg, locked, that's as much extension as I'm gonna have. If I start to bend the knee but keep my foot flat, I'll have a little bit more. I can lean back, but if I'm on my toes, I can extend even further. Now the danger with that is balance. I have to make sure my balance is good enough that I'm able to produce that force and maintain control. Personally, I don't use the teep for that. I like using mine, especially my lead teep, as, again, I'm just touching. Gauging range, to the thigh, check range, to the knee, check range, real shot, go higher, real shot. But otherwise, I'm not trying to push through real hard. You'll notice that I don't swing my hand down. I was taught never to drop any hand on any technique if you can help it. I don't prefer swinging my hand down or passing the kick. Yes, it will give you more momentum later on, but you're also going to be missing a huge piece of defense. What I want to think about is the bucket of water analogy. So imagine my lead leg is in a bucket of water. I want to take my foot out of that bucket, extend above the bucket, bring it all the way back, and put it back in that bucket. I want to be here, out, back, and down. Up, out, back, and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to speed it up a little bit. So here, here, here. Now the reason I want to be using that bucket analogy is so that I'm not doing this. And even in the street scenario, if you push kick somebody and drag it down their groin, yeah, it's probably gonna hurt a lot. The reason you don't wanna do it in the ring, or the street for that matter, is that you don't want it to get caught. Now you notice I'm leaning back a little bit. If I'm leaning back, I'm gonna round my shoulders a little bit more because I want my shoulders over my hips at all times if I can help it. Another way you can get a little bit more extension is to pivot your rear leg. In that sense, it's gonna turn into almost a side teep. My foot is externally rotated because my hip is externally rotated, which in turn, I don't have the groin flexibility to do this. My weapon is actually internally rotating. Some guys prefer throwing that way because it's harder to catch. If you just cup your hand, it's easy to catch someone's ankle in there. But if it's turned a little bit sideways, just slightly, it's a lot easier for them to slip out. Notice on my lead teep, like I said, I don't like bringing that hand down. And if anything, I'll extend that hand. I prefer extending the same hand of the same leg that's kicking. You can be here. I prefer here. It gives me an extension. It also helps if I'm leaning a little bit. I have a little bit more weight going forward. Don't block anything that's coming straight on, but also any round strike. Now you're not gonna have that if you're all the way down here. You might get a little bit more extension, a little bit more pop from the hips. The risk versus reward. The risk is too high for me. I'd rather keep my defense up. Everybody's body works differently, so use what works for you. Just know that if you do pass it, bring it right back to your head. Rear teep, same exact mechanics. The only difference is with the rear teep, I've got a little bit more space to work with, which means 2 good things for me and 1 bad thing against me. That means 1, I get more momentum, 2, I get more power. The danger is that since I'm coming from further away, he has a better chance to see it. So mechanics, same thing. Knee to chest, toes pulled back, hands up, shoulders rounded, slight bend, and the lead knee this time, I'm on my toes if I can be. I'm gonna extend and bring it back in the bucket. Again, I can have both hands up. I don't prefer personally extending on my rear side. I don't feel like I need to. Again, you can pass. You can pass that kick if you want, but just make sure that hand comes right back to the head. I will push forward, like I said, if I notice that he is coming at me straight on, I will go push all the way through. So if I the right leg, the rear leg, here, here, a little bit of bend in the knee, off the heel, I'll get a little bit more extension. You do have the option of push. Okay, now I notice he backed up, I can follow through. But otherwise, again, pushing all the way through, I'm getting into that bad habit of cycling forward and not bringing my foot back down to where it came from. So I want to follow the same track I did out, follow it back. Pushing through and falling forward. Okay, I can land. I might want to catch it as he's backing up. If I know that already, then I can retract it, then move forward. Types of push kicks. As the lead leg goes, you have your basic push kick that we just went over. I'm using that push kick to gauge range, use it as a measuring stick, and kind of as a jab, and just to see where they're at. I'm trying to just gauge that distance. I just want to know where he's at in order to use my other weapons. I'm usually not too offensive with the lead teep. If anything, I'll be defensive. So one I like to use, aside from basic teep, is a stop kick, which he's already running towards me. I know he's got a forward momentum, so I'm gonna lean forward even more into this, but I'm only gonna extend halfway. I'm trying to have him run into that kick. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna lean forward a little bit more than usual, but I'm only gonna extend halfway. Now, if he doesn't commit, if he sees me early and doesn't commit, that's fine. I just shuffle forward. Another one we kind of already went over is the side teep. So instead of here, I'm here. Now again, I'm not moving forward. I'm just pivoting. I'm getting more extension and more power just by biomechanics. I'm not trying to jump forward or run forward or do the tie hop or anything. I'm pivoting, externally rotating this hip, which is internally rotating this weapon, but that's fine. Like I said, it's harder to catch that ankle when it's rotated like that, and you'll have a little bit more extension, a little bit more power. Now, if you want to hop in on it, that's fine, you can do that too. That's for sure gonna give you more power. Single, normal teep, from here, side teep, rear teep. And I use this one more for power. This one I will be offensive, so I can either be here, put it right back where it came from, or if I know I hit him and I pushed him back, he didn't catch it, I can move on forward and keep flowing. Side teep on this side, same thing, mechanics are the same. You're basically turning it into a side kick. Mechanics are the same, I'm bringing my knee up, extending out, putting it back down if I need to. Now, a couple things to note on this one is that you can set it up with low kick, it looks like a low kick, okay, I go side kick. Depending on how hard you chamber that knee, that's gonna determine how much power you're getting if you're just pivoting. Now, if you're jumping at the same time, obviously your forward motion is gonna give you way more power. But for me, I'm just pivoting. I'm trying to get this foot 180 if I can, and come back. Now, you don't always have to come back. You could land, spin all the way around. If you set it up off the low kick, it's a little bit more delayed on the timing, so maybe he went to catch the low kick, maybe he went to check the low kick. So now his center line is open a little bit more. Now, if I'm doing it just off my normal teep, I get more power a little bit because I can chamber that knee and extend at the end. From here, normal rear teep, side, side, side with a spin, side spin. In Savate, they call this chasse. Normally when I see Savate fights, they're throwing it to the lead hip of their opponent. So right on the iliac crest, right on that bone right there. They're trying to stop their opponent in the tracks. And I like this one because it's a little odd. It comes from a weird angle. It has a different timing and a different rhythm. Our teeps are usually going here. So they're not really expected to go at the hips, at the actual hip bones. I like that, and some people call it an inverted teep, but you can also easily just change that to the chest or the head. It's coming from an odd angle. At least at the hip, with my flexibility, I'm externally rotated, so it's pretty strong. Now, the other thing you can do, you can either stop someone in their tracks, or if they were going to a switch kick, and the reason I say switch kick is because I'm throwing my rear leg at their lead hip. Lead hip, your rear leg. I go to switch, and you catch me, it's gonna fold me. I stand southpaw for video's sake, and I'm going to kick, right? Going around kick. As soon as this leg leaves, technically, I'm off balance. So this leg leaves the floor. If you kick my hip at the same time, I'm folding. I already have forward motion. My leg's for sure gonna go. You're keeping my hip where it is. The rest of my body, if I'm throwing correctly, I'm going forward, I'm gonna fold in half. I have so much forward momentum, but you're stopping the main link in the chain. I'm gonna get folded backwards. I don't prefer getting super high off the back foot and bending the knee real hard because I'm never trying to push through my opponent with my push kicks. I'm just gauging range and trying to touch him up, score, set up a fake. I'm just trying to score with my teeps. But again, do what works for you and your body and your style.